Hello and welcome to Mums All Together. My name is Katie and this is Hannah, and we're going to take you through an upper body strength and restore. So working through the upper body, making sure we're nice and strong to do all the things that we need to do. So we're going to start on the floor for this one. So we're going to pop ourselves down and we're going to pop feet flat and knees to the ceiling. Place your hands behind your hips with your fingertips pointing towards your toes, and I want you to really find that nice open collarbone. Imagine that your spine is like an ironing board, so there's no bends and no extensions through the spine. Elbows track directly back, and we're going to play with the tempo of a little tricep dip here. So take an inhale and bend into the elbows. Take an exhale and lift up. So we go down 4, 3, 2, 1, up 4, 3, 2, 1, down 4, 3, 2, 1, up 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now, as you're going down and up, pay some attention to what's happening with your legs. Often we wing the knees out and splay them out, and as much as possible, we want to keep our hips, knees, heels in that nice parallel line. We're down 4, 3, 2, 1, lift, 3, 2, 1, down 4, 3, 2, 1, lift. Let's take it in 2 counts. Here we go. Down and up. We're down and up. And again, be super mindful here that your elbows don't wing out to the side. We want to keep them as nice and narrow as possible. Down, down, up, up, down, down, up. 2 more. Down, down, up, up, down, down, up. Little single count, bend and stretch. Staying low if you can, so trying not to come back up to that full extension. 4, breathe. 3, breathe. 2, hold the bend, tiny pulse. We're down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, reverse the pulse, press into the floor, up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it still. Breathe, smile, hold, breathe, spine is long, and up you come. Maybe give those wrists a little bit of a wiggle and shake out. Now, obviously we can lift the hips off the floor, but the reason we keep the hips on the floor for that exercise here is it actually encourages a little bit more abdominal activation. So we're going to cross our legs and come into a 4-point kneeling position. I'm going to make my knees a little wider, and I'm going to bring my fingertips in so they face slightly on that diagonal. Long spine. Now, what I want to be careful of here is that I'm bending and sending my nose forward. So we're going to take this on a 2 count bend and a 2 count stretch. Bend for 2, stretch for 2. Bend for 2, stretch for 2. And again, always trying to make sure that we feel like we are picking up the back of the body with the front of the body. Temptation is here to bend the elbows, but to take all the weight back. So if you're shuffling your bottom back, you can just to take a little bit of tension out of your arms, but know that the aim is to send your nose towards the edge of the mat. Good. Bend for 2, lift for 2, bend for 2, single bend, single stretch. It's a bend and stretch, bend and stretch, bend and stretch, bend and stretch. 4 more. 4, breathe. 3, breathe. Last 2, hold a little bend, take a little teeny tiny pulse. We're 8 and 7 and 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 and 1. Let's take a child's pose stretch. Slide those hips back, lengthen those arms forward, and live here. Take your fingertips to one side. Just take that little side bend, easing out through the shoulders and the side of the torso, and then through to the other side. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come to lie on our fronts. So if it's uncomfortable for you to lie on your front, omit this one for now, and there'll be a time when it doesn't feel quite so uncomfortable and you can lift. If you have a diastasis, just be mindful that it might feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean it's the wrong thing. Stop if you need to, take a break if you need to, and omit this if it doesn't feel quite right. So from here, I'm going to start with my head on the back of my hands, and I'm just going to take a lovely big breath in and out. And I want you to try and find that diaphragmatic breath into the floor and see if you can find almost that little bit of respite through the back. And then the next time you take your exhale, without moving your arms or your upper body, I want you to see if you can imagine that you can pick your belly button off the floor on your exhale, and then relax it down on your inhale. Now, can you pick your belly button off the floor without squeezing your butt or engaging your shoulders? I find for myself now when I go to lift my belly button off the floor, my pelvic floor also lifts. Just something I'm definitely more aware of these days. So holding that little lift, and it's not at 100%, maybe 30 to 50%. See if you can think of lengthening out your crown. Keep your palms on the floor to start with, and just lift the head, neck, and shoulders off. Keep the shoulders down, and then lower back down with the head. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. And then if you feel like you would like the challenge, keeping the feet wide, and you want those feet to be at least as wide as your mat, see if you can lift the arms and the framework of the arms with the head. Now, if this feels too much for the lower back, when you lift, reach your fingertips towards your ankles and lengthen them out here. Lifting and lowering. Trying to think always of lengthening away rather than just lifting up. And are you feeling like you lift evenly from side to side? Or do you feel like maybe one side works harder than the other side? Just something to be aware of. Lifting. Bring the palms back forward and let your head rest on the palms. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to make two fists on top of one another and let the forehead rest on the fist. Or other choice is to bring the hands down and just turn your head to one side, just taking that tension out of the upper back and the upper body. I'm going to keep my palms crossed across one another, and I'm going to keep my legs where they are. And from here, I'm going to stretch out my right leg as far as I can and then lift it up, 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 up. Lower it down. And then do the same with my left. Lengthen it out, lift it up. And down. And I'm keeping my legs wide. And the reason for this, at this phase of life, is that if I'm bringing my legs too close together, I might find some impingement in that lower back. And we want to find the movement. We want to allow that range of movement to happen. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2, if you have any pain or discomfort, you want to stop, always stop here with this. Last 1. Now we're going to see if we can lift both legs together, but I want you to think of keeping your hip bones on the floor. I could just see Hannah doing a beautiful job of this, but I know for myself, the temptation to rock or lift the hip bones too much is definitely there. Gorgeous. Lengthen out to lift and lower. Lengthen out to lift and lower. And the more you think of lengthening the legs, the more effective this is. If you'd like to add the little combination, feel free to take your hands long to the side of the legs And as you lift the legs, find a little lift through the upper body. It's fine to do this either with a single leg lift or with no lift of the upper body or no lift of the legs. So be where it is that you need to be. Last two. And last one. Relax your head, relax your arms, and take a second and really try to relax into the floor here. Often when we breathe, whether we realize it or not, we're slightly societally conditioned to pull in and suck in. And for us as women, it's very detrimental to us, to our pelvic floor, to the way that our diaphragm functions. So when you're on the floor like this, see if you can breathe into your belly. And the more we can breathe diaphragmatically, the more naturally the pelvic floor acts like a piston. And we want to find that we relax just as much as we engage. When you're ready, bring your hands forward and just bring yourself up into almost a sphinx position. So forearms into the floor. And just find that sink. Now, if this is awkward for the lower back, omit this one, come straight into a child's pose stretch. This feels nice for you, however, just see if you can think of sinking your ribs into the mat a little more and looking up to the ceiling a little higher. You can take your hands further away from you to make this position less intense, bringing them closer to you to make this position a little more intense. Full breath in, full breath out. Full breath in and full breath out. Now from here, what we're going to do is use alternate legs to kick into our glutes. So as you exhale, use your right leg and give it some force. Exhale, right leg to glute and out. Left leg and out. And I want you to feel like this action stretches across the whole of the front of the torso. So if you're sitting for long periods of time, this is a really nice way to get some openness into the front of the body and also to find some really nice, safe engagement for the back of the body. I'm going to take another 5, 4, 3, last 2, and last one. Very nice. From here, walk the hands back and start to pick yourself up and back into that child's pose position once more. Find your breath. Think of breathing into the back of the lungs on your inhale and sinking those hips down on your exhale. Full breath in and full breath out. Full breath in and full breath out. When you're ready, walk your hands in and come all the way up to the top. We're going to sit on our sides, a little bit of a mermaid position. We're going to put one arm out and we're going to pop the opposite hand on our hips. Now, often we're told not to go into hyperextension in our elbow, but this time I want the soft portion of your elbow, I don't think you can see it underneath my top, but I want it to face the index finger. And then I want you to bend that elbow into your waistline, like there's a tiny string between elbow and hip. I'm going to take a little pulse down and lift. Now, things to be mindful of here is that your ear wants to marry your shoulder. So just imagine you have a beautiful dangly earring on and you don't want your shoulder to come up to your ear. The second thing to be really mindful of here is that the elbow drives into the waistline and not back behind you. If you're driving the elbow back behind you, it's going to be a very different exercise. Last 4, last 3, feeling it, Hannah? Yeah. Last 2, last 1, hold the bend, take a little pulse. Bend, 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 bend. 4, 3, 2, hold that bend, breathe and smile, open the shoulders. If you can, lift the arm up and over. 3, 2, 1, and lift up. Give it a wiggle and a shake. Whew, very effectively targeted for the tricep, especially after what we've done so far. Bringing yourself around to the other side. Hand inside of that elbow facing away. I don't stack my knees directly on top of one another, but you can. So Hannah, if it feels more comfortable for you to do that, for me, it feels a little more comfortable just to have that space. So again, wherever you need to be, shoulders down. Take that bend so the bend comes into the waistline. Now, you don't have to stay where you've set yourself up. If your arm is too far away or too close, find that sweet spot and we take a little bend. Bend, stretch, finding that little midway action. Again, trying to make sure that the shoulder and the ear don't get too close. Nice and open and level through the collarbones. Spine is long, ribs and hips stay connected. Keep breathing. Good, we're going for 4 more here. 4, breathe. 3, last, 2, last one, hold the bend. Just check that elbow is coming into your waistline and not out behind you. Little pulse, breathe, pulse, breathe, pulse, breathe, pulse, breathe. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold that bend, breathe and smile. Choice here to lift the arm up and over. Smile, you live here now, this is your new home, make yourself comfortable, and when you're ready, lift up and around. Whew. And if you're looking for a little release after that, we do have a neck, upper body and shoulder release filmed. But hopefully you feel nice and strong and ready to take on the day. We love to hear your comments, so let us know how you found it and let us know what you love and what you want to see more of. Thanks.